Hello and welcome to another Seton's game. I think this one will be very enjoyable for people. So let's see, very good players. We got Combo on Beach, going to Seraphim. We also got Gimbalt. Gimbalt used to be one of the top players, I believe, but some of the recent games I've seen from him, he's kind of been dominated. I'm not really sure if he's got kids pulling on his shirt or something while he's playing, or something weird happening, but he's got good allies. He got Ukulele, Hakuto, and Ichiban or Sith. These three players extremely good, especially Hawk and Sith. And let's see who are they facing. Flying Kangaroo, of course, extremely good. Beach, and in the middle, Furball, another very good player. And Icon. So Icon versus Ichiban, always a very good air battle. And I think there's quite a few people talking about who come up with different builds, things like that. I think if you have to look for who are the most innovative players in the history of Setons, you'd have to look at people like Lame God. Of course, Dim was always pretty much ahead of everybody. Character at some point was the player to get people to start playing Navy. He came up with a lot of the naval builds. Berg. A lot of people don't like Berg 711, but he came up with quite a few builds, especially some of the more aggressive builds. He kind of stopped playing at all completely after FAF. Start playing other things. Of course, Sith, quite a few builds from her for air. And of course, you do have to give credit to the Germans like Styr and Le Pen, as well as Flying, coming up with quite a few of the more defensive builds and just straight up eco. Some people try to claim research allocation, things like that, and just so that nobody tries to claim that. That's belongs to Mapman, or Think Tank, who used to make that back in 2007 way more than everybody else. And of course, then people like Lame God or quite a few players did that all the time back in 2008, 2009. So it's not something that innovative. Very early resource allocation. But if you had to pick a player, it was Mapman with upgrading it with a single engineer, pausing the ACU and going single NG. And, he didn't cheat it every single time. Sometimes he did it legally, and if you had to give somebody the credit for doing that. So I think that's a good overview of who came up with what. And of course, the great thing about Setons is that there's always slight adjustments all the time. I mean, you see Root, some of the things that he does. Slight adjustments to builds that can actually make huge effects because of the exponential nature, if you want to call it that, of this game. A small change at minute 1 can have a drastic effect at minute 15. So now we got Ukulele and Furball. Looks like both players brought an engineer, and the engineers are going to work. And it looks like the first engineer to be killed is going to be the one from Furball. Could be an advantage for the top side in terms of mass. We'll check out what the mass is. Of course, all the matchups here are extremely even. But this engineer could really sway the balance. He's got a couple extra minutes. Let's see if Furball spots it, kills it. So far, Furball, yeah, now he's going to kill it. So here, minute 4, looking at the reclaim. Furball is at 5,000. Ukulele is at 6,000. So that difference in engineer is about 6,000 extra. And of course, you can see almost all the mass is gone. And about 11,000 reclaimed. There's about 1,000 left. A couple of these Tech 2 regs plus a single Tech 3 and a couple Tech 2s. So if people have a question, it's just over 12,000 reclaim in the middle. Used to be about 16. It looks like Combo is going to lose his island to Gimbalt. That's one thing about Gimbalt. I did kind of say bad things about him early on. He is a very aggressive player, and he is very aware of what's going on. So maybe in some of these SimCity builds, he's not really interested in competing, but he can definitely do things like Preparation H or grabbing your island from you very well. A Furball going after Ukulele, trying to go for the kill. And it looks like they both died. So both end players are died, and this is now 3v3. Of course, we're playing with a give. Very close for Furball, though. But I think trying to kill an ACU before minute 6 this far in advance, this far into their base, is a little too hopeful. But both looks like, yeah, the back player Icon is going to get the mid, while Hawk is going to get the mid So this could be a big advantage for Icon in terms of eco, but it also gives a pretty big advantage for Hawk in terms of grabbing the Navy. So it's interesting how these two teams decided to divide up the extra mass. I don't expect with Aeon to have too many attacks. You already see walls coming up for Hawk, and if it was Seraphim or UEF, I would, even Cyber, massive Tech 1 land spam can have an effect, but I don't think any of these players are actually going to do that. We're seeing Gimbal absolutely dominate. 11 kill bomber. Combo just getting brutalized. This is sad. Wow, this is a MVP so far of the game. It will finally die. Let's see if the reg does no. But 11 kills, 11 engineers killed. That's a big setback. And Gimbal taking over the islands, got flak there. Combo is known that he can eco pretty well, but he's a rather new player on Seton, so if you put him into a situation he hasn't been in before, he might struggle. But let's see what happens. See, we're at +2. Ichiban already starting resource allocation with just the second power generator being constructed. Interesting. You can see living just above the 0 mark on the power. So not wasting any power at all. Looks like quite a bit of power storage as well. And of course we are playing with a new patch. The new balance is now live. It's now the standard. There was a discussion about the support commanders being much cheaper now, and actually could be a very dominant strategy, especially for Cyber with harms, Tech 3 torpedo launchers and water. I'm really just hoping to see quite a few replays where that happens, because SCU is one, you can say, fairly underused unit. I mean, you can't say it wasn't used. It did have its spot, especially for Seraphim SCUs with a teleport coming in to take out anti-nukes in late game. I'm sure people who watch this channel have seen that in the past. I mean, if you watch the previous settings, you can see that happen. Of course, that sentence was also with the balance patch. But until I see it be a dominant strategy, I don't really want to have too much an opinion on it. Looks like Ichiban finishing up the second resource allocation just before minute 11. We also see Tech 3 air from Hawk. Hawk making strat bombers. So Hokuto, well, it's got Tech 1 Navy, but not producing, actually Tech 1 Naval Factory, not too many Tech 1 units. We got flying with a Tech 1 Navy. Very defensive. This is a standard build. This looks almost identical to Styre. Although Styre would go Tech 2 ACU with Tech 2 torpedo launcher. I guess in this case it's not necessary to do this at all. But you can see very unnecessary units if you just scout and see there's nothing coming your way. Not a single ship. But you still got torpedo launchers. It's nearly 1,000 mass invested in torpedo launchers. But really the big story is strat bombers from Hawk, and they should be seen by Icon. I think Icon has just seen that, and he is going to be worried. We also see an ASF from Ichiban, because these early strat bombers, minute 12 from Rock, actually here 12 minutes 30 seconds, we already see 3 strat bombers. Of course, each strat does about 3,000 damage. Unupgraded ACU will get killed by 4 strat bombs. So one pass, the 4 strat bombers, is game over for somebody. Here's the 4th strat bomber. We do see some ASF from Icon. Icon, of course, with double eco, going ahead of Ichiban a little bit. See, there is an air spam, also getting Tech 3, both resource allocations. And Combo here just not in a very good shape. I think he is going to lose quite a few engineers. He's going to be way behind Kimbalt, just a straight up Tech 1 Navy, suppressing any kind of production that Combo might have. But here come the strat bombers. Looks like we got a total of 5 now. ASF from Ichiban and non-stop scouting from Icon, so you should be anticipating those strats. We also see Tech 2 bombers from flying. I'm not really sure why he's doing that, but he is. And here comes strat bombers, 5 strat bombers from Hawk here, minute 14. And then a SF battle between Ichiban and Icon. I think Icon might actually have more, but the big difference is going to be 5 strats. Some of them are getting shot. They go directly after Icon. I don't understand why Icon didn't have a shield. 1 or 2 shields would have saved him from 5 strat bombers, at least for after 1 pass. But before minute 15, you can see that it's possible. Actually, all these strats are still alive, so they can go ahead and keep bombing, which means this bottom team completely at the mercy. Do see some flag, but really it's the shields that prevent these types of strats. And really no way back here. Ichiban is going to take air control. Flying's got 3 bases. He's just going to say whatever. The strategy of building torpedo launchers without actually facing a navy did not pay off. And of course I shouldn't say too many bad things against Flying, because he will beat me in a naval battle every single time. But in this one, he throws in the towel, combos the last player, working on a resource allocation. How fitting. But a 15-minute game, really well played from top side. If you want to see the true innovators of the game, it is Hawk and Sith. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.